This is the YOB ConvoCast, one-on-one conversations with your other brother's authors, community members, supporters, and friends.
What's up, friends, and welcome back to the YOB ConvoCast, conversations with beloved humans in the YOB community. The first ConvoCast of 2024. Happy New Year, everybody listening. So excited. My name's Tom. I'm the editor, co-founder of Your Other Brothers, and joining me today, making his second appearance. He's not a virgin anymore. He's lost his podcast virginity. He is the POG making his return. What's up, Matthew?
Hi.
You, I guess, weren't terrified by the first go, so here you are again for round two.
More from the plain old gay, but I hope the conversation is not just plain. I hope it's somewhat interesting. Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year. Matthew, I love, because you say this word a lot, I love how you say the word interesting. You emphasize every syllable, and I love that about you.
Oh, that's interesting that you appreciate
Instead
that.
of the way I would say it, or I think most people say it interesting. I think they combine the T and the R and make it interesting, but you pronounce every syllable, and I love that. Very distinctive.
I know where it comes from. One of my college professors taught us. I went to school, to be in ministry, and then I got into ministry and then realized I was gay and didn't have to get out. But at the time I felt like, I had to figure things out. Right. Mm-hmm. But he used to always tell us, if somebody's talking to you and you just really don't know what to say, just say one of two things. Say, I heard that. And I've used that with a lot of straight guys through the years. Like when they talk about sports ball, I'm like, oh, I heard that, and then when somebody talks about something you really don't want to say, that's interesting.
There you go. That's actually a good strategy. I've used some combination of that too, saying that's interesting. Yeah. If you don't know whether to portray a positive or a negative reaction to it, like it's a very neutral one that can go either, however someone wants to take it. I guess it could go either way.
Tell me more about that.
Tell me what?
How does that make you feel?
That's what
I mean. Those are more.
I thought you were asking me to tell you more. No, I have nothing else to say. I have nothing else to add. Well, yeah. So you participated, for those that I can't imagine anyone that's been living under a rock for the last year or 6 months, that they don't know what we're referencing, the plain old gay, the POG. Like you were on our sexuality series. We talked about all the variations, all the flavors. I like flavors of sexuality in our community. And so you got to share some of your story. And so, yeah, I'm just so glad you're back. When I was thinking about what I wanted to talk with you about, I was replaying that podcast in my mind. I was like, what were some things that he said that were interesting? And I remembered you talking about working out of school, because you were comparing your journey as someone a little further along on this road, not so far along, but a little further along, comparing your journey with sexuality to these Gen Zers at your school where you work, and just how different that is as far as like a proclivity to showcase your sexuality at such an early age. And so I was thinking a lot about that. And I was just thinking, just to start this conversation about, because I know you're Mr. Fashion. You are very fashionable. You dress very well. I know that's important to you. And I want your thoughts on the way Gen Z dresses. Like, I want to just get right to it and like spill the tea. You're drinking literal tea right now. So I want you to spill the metaphorical tea, because I have a Gen Z story that just happened today. It was providential. It was very providential that this happened today. But I want to get your take first on, just like, snapshot. When you see a typical Gen Z, or the way they're dressed, what do you see? What do you feel? What do you think? Et cetera, et cetera.
Did you ever play a game called Gay or European? When in America, when when you see a well-dressed, well-groomed guy, he's really well-dressed and really well-groomed, you're like, okay, is he gay or is he European?
Okay.
He's not just an American straight dude.
Right.
We know that much. And so that was just a fun game played, years ago. And of course, it's not always true, but it's just a funny thing to when you're trying to figure out, when you're trying to peg somebody and categorize somebody that you don't know. Anyway, but now I feel like Gen Z has totally ruined that game. You can't play that game anymore. You have no idea with Gen Z. You don't know what they're doing because they're unidentifiable because there's such a mixture. And we could get into a lot of that. There's to the point where sometimes our sexualities and our preferences are so blended. There's so many different categories that now the identities that people take on, that you can't just make assumptions about how they identify. And then also with their clothes, they could just be, I don't know. I don't understand. The 90s have come, the 80s and 90s had a baby.
Yes.
And it's Gen Z.
Yes. Yeah. So here's my story, because I was at a coffee shop today where I love to work and plan and zen out for a little bit. And so I'm sitting there with my laptop, and I'm sitting across from they must have been 17, 18-year-old guys, good looking guys. They kind of had shaggy hair, some pierced earrings. They're sitting kind of close together. They weren't touching or anything. Sitting close together on the couch. There was like a couch across from my chair that I was sitting in. And so my eyes are darting. And I'm like, are they gay? Are they not? But I'm more than their body language with each other is their dress, because they're both wearing, I swear, pants that looked 2 sizes too big. One was like plaid pants. The other one was striped pants. I'm sorry, they looked like clown pants, each of them. They're very big, baggy, striped and checkered. And then as they got up to leave, one of them with again, shaggy hair, big bangs over the ears, everything, he puts on like a felt witch's hat, like a pointy felt hat, unironically. It's not like he's going to a costume party or something. I don't think he's wearing this witch's hat with his clown pants, and I'm just staring there looking at him and this is just everything is completely normal. There's nothing we're not at this isn't Halloween. This isn't dress up. This is because I see this all the time. This demographic of 13 to 20-year-olds today in America, they're dressing. It does look like a severe. This is how I interpret it. I don't know if you agree with this. It feels like a severe overcorrection of millennials' obsession with skinny jeans. It feels like they are saying, yes, nope, we don't want to do that.
Yes.
And we're going to go completely opposite to a time that they didn't know. They didn't know the 90s, and they didn't know the baggy clothes, because their shirts were also very loose and baggy as well. So that's what it feels like to me. And to that end, I give them some credit, because I never fully bought in with the skinny jean craze. I was maybe on stage 2 or 3 maybe of skinny jean mania, out of 5 or 6 stages maybe. So I was getting there, but I never could quite go all the way to suck the life out of my calves, which I have big calves. So that was just a struggle for me personally.
That's one thing that held you back.
Yeah, it held me back.
Whereas I'm always been super thin. And so I loved to see clothes get trimmer and fitter in the past 10 years. And some things finally fit me, and I was excited about it. And now I have really been grieving and mourning, watching the legs of pants at store just get bigger and bigger again. Now I'm at this place in my life. I'm a middle-aged man, and I don't know where to buy clothes, because I can't go to the teeny, you can't go to the teeny bopper stores. I don't want to go to Kohl's or Hamrick. People probably don't know what Hamrick's is, but I was going to say about your story, though, listeners should know, that Tom lives in Asheville, North Carolina.
Right.
So this while Gen Z is over the top, Asheville is also other level. Everybody all the weird people who can't afford to live on the West Coast anymore have moved to Asheville. And so it's just another Tuesday in Asheville. You never know what you're going to see over there with the felt hat.
Yeah. So maybe on your side of North Carolina, maybe slightly different demographic, but I don't know. I think in general, I think the general vibe is bigger clothing. Also, they were wearing New Balances, and I was thinking when I was a kid, that was nerdy shoes. That's what dads wore, New Balance with that big N symbol.
Champion, Reebok. It's all the stuff you thought we had buried it. Millennials had buried it. Next thing you know, everybody's going to start going to Applebee's again. What are we doing? Everything we thought we had successfully killed.
Everything that was lame isn't lame anymore, and we have to just deal with that, I guess.
Let me tell you about the kids at my school. So you have pearl necklaces all over straight guys.
Yes, pearl necklaces.
And you have pink Hello Kitty backpacks, or several other guys. I know guys on the wrestling team. So that was pretty Southern, who carry around these pink unicorn backpacks, and they're being funny, right?
Right.
They're just being funny, but they wear it confidently, and think nothing of it. And then saw to the point where I saw two guys holding hands, walking out of the school about a month ago before winter break, and I swear they're not a couple. They're just holding hands. So
that's what I was thinking with these two guys.
Bring it on back, Gen Z.
Yeah, like I didn't see any physical touch with these two friends, but they looked just very comfortable with each other, sitting pretty close together and working on something, and then they left together. And so I don't know, I'm just intrigued. And the point of this conversation, like just from a gay perspective and from a male perspective, because we're only focusing on the male. I have nothing to say about the female Gen Z fashion trends. We'll have to bring Aaron in, or somebody else with an eye for that, because I have no idea what the ladies are wearing in Gen Z these days. She's
paying attention, yeah.
But not to call out Aaron, but I'm sure there's other women out there listening who can maybe help with that conversation. But yeah, it's starting to be like the last couple of years I've been noticing it more pronounced, like, because Your Other Brothers was largely started by a millennial group of friends, with a couple boomers thrown in there. And, we've got some Gen Xers sprinkled in now in our community, but at some point, Gen Z, now that they're becoming of age and being over 18, that's like, I'm hoping we start to get their perspective, honestly, in our community, and get their feedback. Because I would love nothing more, if there's any Gen Z person listening right now, and if you're over 18, I would love nothing more than to have you on a podcast production at some point, and just like look you in the eyes and be like, so what's the deal? Like, tell me about the New Balances that you're sporting right now. What is that? Like, tell me why. And that's like a gateway to a deeper conversation about how they approach sexuality, or how they approach other friendships and other things that I'm just very curious about. Cause they are like, I've never noticed a difference in the generations below me until now. Like, it's starting to become more and more obvious that, oh yeah, that is not my generation anymore. There is distance, there is separation that's happened.
I am still amazed. Like, we have some younger guys in our community who are still in a context and a culture that still in 2024 makes it very difficult for them to process their sexuality, to make peace with it, and to come out to people in their lives. And almost like you think some of the older guys in the community are, kind of like, wow, I'm kind of surprised with the way our culture has changed in the past 15 years, how that's still a thing. But it's amazing how there are pockets of pockets of contexts and cultures where it's still difficult. I know a guy who is still, who is, I guess, maybe the youngest of youngest millennials, who's still just fighting such a battle with integrating this, sexuality into his identity ever so gradually, just so scared of it. And no judgment. I mean, heaven knows I'm the last person who's going to judge.
Sure.
It took me so long. It took me so long to deal with all this, and I'm still in process. So I just want to walk with him and love him and pray with him all the way through. Mm-hmm. But it's amazing to me how some people in our generation, some young people, don't even need to come out. Coming out is not even. I feel like millennials had all this, like YouTube was new, when the newer YouTube was new, and all these coming out videos started happening. And a lot of us watched them, and we learned so much about ourselves. And now I feel like that's not even a trend anymore. These young people, they don't need to come out anymore unless they're uncertain. So everybody's different depending on their context.
Yeah, potentially different, like different parts of the country, like the South versus the Northeast or something. But it's interesting. So I honestly look forward to that. Like, that's something that I'm charting. Like, I'm logging it officially today. It's like, that's a perspective I'm looking for at some point in 2024. And so I'm gonna keep my eyes posted for a Gen Z perspective on all of that. So that was my little simultaneous rant on Gen Z fashion, and also like a little teaser for a deep dive on. I am genuinely curious what's going on in their minds as far as all these topics that we've discussed, which you somewhat referenced in your previous ConvoCast. So thanks for going down that rabbit trail with me. Matt, before we signed on today, I put it out to our community that I would love to ask you some questions that they have for you, if you'd be willing to ask them, because I'm like titling this segment "Respect Your Elders," because I consider you my elder as someone a decade beyond, in the next decade, not a decade beyond me, but you are living in another decade than I am. So I want to respect my elders. I just want to learn about you. And it's also because you're new to the podcast. And so it'd be great to like learn a little bit about you. And it's funny that we were talking about fashion, because the Yobbers jumped on this and they were curious. They want to know how many hats you own, how many flannels you own, and how many shoes you own. Is there a number? Can you adequately estimate, calculate in your mind each of those three things: hats, flannels, and shoes?
Oh man, I'm so, in the Enneagram 3 here, and it just thrills my soul to have a reputation as, for being a clothes gay,
yeah.
a fashion gay.
Yeah, you are not plain old. I don't know what's got into your mind to think you're a plain old gay, but you clearly stand out. So yeah, so any estimations of those? I'm curious.
Yeah, so I don't know, probably 20, around 20 ball hats.
Okay.
Maybe different kinds. You gotta match it. Some you wear to the gym, and some do you wear out for a nice evening, and some of them wear to the beach. You got variety.
How many witches hats do you have?
Yeah, felt witches hats is something that I just wrote down a few minutes ago. Added that to my weekend.
You're lacking that. You gotta catch up. Okay, so about 20. That's respectable. Yeah.
And shoes. Oh man, I love shoes. And one of the most beautiful joys of coming out and in the past 5-6 years and being more and more open and being very open at work now is I can just to be honest with you, I spent years trying to hide from others how much I loved clothes, because I felt I was kind of ashamed of it.
Right.
And so it's been something that I've fully embraced now. If I were not poor, it would be really scary, the clothes I would own. God knows what he's doing. I would waste so much money on clothes, but shoes, I don't know. Gosh, I love them. Every type of shoes. There are some shoes they're seasonal for me. You wear them in the summer and that's it. You wear boots at certain times, and you have your gym, your athleisure, and you got to have your boat shoes, and it's a thrill.
Boat shoes that you wear on boats?
Yeah, you need to wear those in the summer with your chinos. Here's another fashion thing that I've been really into in the past few years is the shorts have been great, haven't they? The shorts, we've gotten them into
They've gotten shorter, yes. The pants have gotten baggier, but the shorts have gotten shorter.
The 6-inch inseam, the 5-inch inseam. It's been such a beautiful gift. Should I get am I too old to get a leg tattoo? Can we put that out to Discord?
Yeah, let's see.
Somebody tell me, am I too old to get a tattoo on my leg?
Like on your thigh, or where are you thinking?
Yeah.
Like a thigh tattoo? That's a good spot because you can have it covered. I'm a big fan of tattoos that you can cover if the situation warrants it, and you can also expose it if it's, a good little time to show off and have it exposed too. So I think the upper thigh or lower thigh even, it's a great spot for a tattoo.
I just don't want it to be like, you go on the beach and I think I'm looking so good and somebody's like, oh gosh, daddy needs to stay in his lane. And
no, I think you could pull it off for sure.
We'll see.
It depends, it depends what we won't go into I don't know if you've given thought about what it would look like or what the design would be, or if you care to reveal that at this juncture, but that would depend on it too. Like a big skull.
Well, here's one thought.
No, not so much.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Okay. So no skull. Okay. I'm writing down. Yeah. I'm taking notes. No butterflies. It needs to be something that if it's going on your thigh, that when you're sitting down and standing up, like you want to put something that only makes sense if you're standing up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, but lots of hats and shoes
Wait,
and
did you give us a number on the shoes? You said 20 hats. I need a number
oh
for the
wow.
shoes. Give us a number.
Oh yeah.
No judgment, no shame
Um,
at all.
I don't know, 30.
30 shoes. Okay, 30 pairs of shoes. And then what about the flannels? Any number on flannels? I'm wearing a flannel right now.
Yeah, I love it. Probably 30.
30 flannels. Okay. That's surprising. I don't know which of those numbers is most surprising to me. 30 flannels. Because I think I own about 5 or 6 myself, which is, it's good. I love the flannel look, especially in the mountains. It's a good vibe for here in Asheville. I've always resonated with
Like a
that.
flannel or a hoodie.
Yeah,
And you don't have to wash when you have so many, you don't have to wash them that often.
this is great.
And they don't wear and you don't wear them as often so they last longer. I have flannels that are as old as some of my freshmen
Yeah,
at the high school where I work. Yeah.
this is my oldest one, I think. I got this when I was working in wilderness therapy, which would have been 2015. So like, yeah, 9 years, like 8.5 years now, I think, this final. So yeah. You said something that I want to just quickly touch on before we get to our big finale. Because you said something about like you were afraid to embrace your love for fashion because it might come off as too gay. And that's something that I'm only just settling into myself over the last, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years, something like that, of just like being way more intentional. Because I was very safe for the most part growing up, like feeling like I just need to I wore a lot of gray. I wore a lot of just basic cut pants, basic t-shirts, like nothing out of the ordinary. I don't want to stand out too much. It's been really fun to just dabble with, different cuts of pants and shorts. Yeah, getting those short shorts and just dabbling in different colors and styles. Like I got to a point where I eliminated all gray because it like reminded me too much of my old self, of like being too scared and too safe with my wardrobe. And now I've since brought in, I'm actually wearing a gray t-shirt underneath my flannel. So I brought back some gray just as a little bit of a nice neutral contrast to whatever I might wear else beyond that. But I feel you on that. I'm sure a lot of our listeners do too, about like that's that fear of like caring too much about what you look like. And that can apply not just to clothes, but to like your hair or your skincare regimen. We had someone ask you about your skincare regimen and what that looks like. Do you have any thoughts on your skincare regimen?
Yeah. I'm to the age now where the hair has stopped growing in some parts of my head and it grows out of my ears and my nose longer. And I'm not trying to be funny. I mean, it really does. The older you get, it becomes just a constant battle to pluck the hair, just to pluck the hairs that are growing in places that
a lot of plucking.
Yeah.
Do you have hair that grows like off the tip of your nose? I have that.
Wow. No, I'm not there yet.
It's like, what is going on?
But
like also like on my earlobes it's just like random little hairs that come out of nowhere.
Yeah. And you have to pay attention because if you don't pay close attention, then one day you'll catch a little glimpse of something and you won't have realized that there's a half-inch hair growing out of the side of your ear or like in the middle of your face, right. And you didn't even see it. And how many other people saw it?
And how long has it been there? Days, weeks? Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're in Enneagram 3, then you feel like you haven't earned love. You're not worthy of love, if you've let that hair grow.
This took a hard turn. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, I'm not. What good am I to the world if I can't? But no, yeah, you gotta. And I can think of yobbers right now if they're listening to this. I know of guys who probably not. If they listen to me talk, they will be rolling their eyes out of their heads right now because they think the stuff that I do is so ridiculous. The lotions, the eye cream, the plucking, all that. I can think of them right now. They are rolling their eyes. Some of those guys who it's like, and I tell them, I'm like, listen, the only thing about you that's gay is your attractions. I just don't even know how this happened. Like you just got the attraction part. You are straight in every other way except for that one thing.
Yeah.
And so it takes we have all kinds in our community, but I happen to be one of those who I really do try. I'm trying my best. You can edit this out if you want, but I've reached a point where I'm basically at the age where I'm like a day shift stripper. I look good from a distance.
Okay. I was trying to figure out what you meant by that. No, I'll leave that in.
And you get closer and it's like, oh, Well, maybe not.
No, Matt, your skin is immaculate. You're doing great. Keep it up. You're an inspiration to many. So that's the conclusion of our Respect Your Elders segment. So we can return to that and ask you more questions next time. If these questions don't scare you, there's more. They left more, but we don't have time. We don't have time to get to the other ones. I wanted to close the conversation, Matt, because I know this is a couple months late, and I didn't even think about it actually, but we had our 5th retreat a few months ago, and shout out to all the Yobbers. I forget if I gave them podcast love or not, because we had I think 10 to 12 people wrote about their retreat experience, which is the most retreat blogs we've ever had in all the 5 retreats we've done. Usually we get 3 or 4, maybe 5 or 6. I put it out there to a bunch of people, and so many of them said, yes, I'll do that. I would love to. And I was so touched and honored because there was such a diverse cross-section of people who had been there several times. And then a lot of first-timers wrote their experience too, which I thought was really cool to get that first-timer experience. And so I invite anyone, I'll put a link to the retreat blogs in this episode in the show notes. So you can, if anyone missed any of the blogs, you can click on the link and it'll show you all the retreat blogs that were written. And it was such a great assortment of stories from our other brothers in this community. But I realized up until recently that we never really did a podcast recap. And there's lots of reasons for that, because the YOB cast is on a break right now. And then it just depended on who I had on the ConvoCast that week, who may or may not have been at the retreat. So Matt, you were there, and you got to share one night. You got to have 20 or 30 minutes to just kind of share whatever was on your heart with everybody. And so I thought I would just give it to you for a little bit and just share for those that weren't blessed to have been there and listen to you speak your elderly wisdom to all of us. Or anything else for that matter, anything that jumps out to you from that weekend. I would love to just hear a little snippet of your retreat experience, since we have all these blogs to go with it. So this will be the final pin in the retreat recap of 2023.
Yeah, I love the retreat. I think this is my 3rd in-person one, and I don't know how many virtual events, day events that we've had, but I love gathering together with these guys. They're like a family. And I think I heard so many guys say that during this retreat that they felt like a family reunion. We had, do you remember the percentages? What percentage of returnees we had? It was the majority. We had new people, first timers, but the majority were people.
Yeah, I want to say it was 65, something 2 to 1, mostly returning, but then maybe a third of new people coming. Yeah.
I love seeing them every year and watching everybody just greet one another and hug and catch up and encourage one another and spend the time. So it's one of my favorite weekends of the whole year, and I can't wait to start planning the next one. So this one was really great in a beautiful setting. It's been my favorite setting that we've had. Our gathering space was so great. And I did get to, one of my favorite things every time is the free time. I love the free time because we get to hang out and do whatever. And the rest of the time, the structured events are so awesome too. But my favorite is the free time. And every year that I've been, we've had some way to play volleyball. And this year we had some really great athletes. And one guy
and tall, so many giants. Yes, I was going to say 6'4".
We had a bunch of Scandinavian. Yeah. But a huge. We had to spread them out, and they were amazing. But one of those guys, I think he said later, he said, I don't play volleyball a lot, and I was really intimidated, but I felt like trying with you guys, and I had a really great time. So I was really glad. I thought, wow, I don't know why you don't play. Who hasn't told you to play volleyball or something? You are a huge. You have this height privilege that you need to be taking advantage of.
Absolutely.
But it was really fun. We took on another group that was at the camp, and we tried to be gracious about it, but we basically destroyed them. They didn't have a chance. And so that was fun.
A bunch of 20, 30, 40 somethings against this group of, how old were they? 15, 16 maybe?
I wasn't going to bring that up. I was just going to let whoever heard just assume that it was an Olympic team.
No.
They came through and we beat them.
It was a team that had no shot against you guys, but you destroyed them, rightly so. Way to be men and destroy them. Yeah.
Yeah. We felt so good about ourselves.
Yeah. Because like that's true. Like how many times have you guys been on winning teams? Like this is an opportunity to take advantage of for you to win a sporting event like that. That was
This was therapy.
valiant.
We
Yeah.
have people who come. Yeah, we have people who come who have such. When somebody mentions PE class, then they have
Right.
PTSD.
Right.
Or we've threatened to have dodgeball one year just for exposure therapy to help people get
Yes.
over the trauma from the past of
Shirts
being
versus
pegged by.
skins volleyball or
Yep,
dodgeball. Let's just do it.
that's already on the calendar for next year.
2024.
But this was a chance for us to win and actually feel good about ourselves for once.
Mm,
So it was fun, and these guys are so great. I love play. I could have played for hours with them, but then all the while, the guys are up playing video games. There were some guys taking hikes, some guys down at the waterfall, some guys taking naps, and just hanging out and catching up with one another. And yeah, I love it. I had the opportunity I was so honored to get to talk. And it was the idea what to share is the idea is about like, I'm at this milestone in my life. I'm 40, and we have some guys in their 70s, 60s, some guys in their
yeah.
20s, so it's quite the age diversity. And being kind of right in the middle, I just wanted to share here's some things that God has taught me. And it was uh I guess how to sum it up is just basically the work that God is doing in our lives. We don't know to the place where I don't really wonder what He's doing anymore because I know that He uses. I mean, I get frustrated and confused, like
Mm,
we all do at times. When you get sick and when you get sick and you don't understand why it won't go away, it won't go away. When you continue to have financial struggles and you just can't seem to beat them. We have some guys in our community who go from job to job and just can't quite seem to settle down. Or when you think that you've conquered your feelings of loneliness and disconnection, relational disconnection, and they keep come creeping back. And so I know that room represented a lot of different types of pain, a lot of different types of ongoing struggles. And I just wanted to provide some hope that God uses everything. One of the beautiful things I think about side B is that um, we are not trying to change our sexuality. We are not gathering together to try to repress our sexuality. We're trying to get together to pray and encourage one another in that God wants to use us uniquely in our sexuality to glorify Him and to minister to other people. And so I look around and I just wanted to say, hey, I really think that every part of your life that may confuse you, every part of your life that may stump you up at times, God is using to teach you humility and gratitude and compassion for others. And sometimes He doesn't change our circumstances because He's changing us in the process. And that's not, I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying
mm.
it's beautiful, his love and His patience. And so I'm just trying to encourage everybody in that way. And these guys and these guys and all the different stories and all the different lives and all of what I know, and there's so much more that I don't know, are just such a beautiful example of how God can use us in our unique walk.
Yeah, very well put. You put it so succinctly. And I think something I remember you saying too that night was that God just loves to work so not just slow, but like so slow.
Oh yeah,
Something of that nature that
yeah.
resonated with so many people in the room, like laughter, but then also like winces of like, yes, that's very deeply true that God is working. Like I think there's this collective acknowledgement that He's working, but then there's the tension of frustration of like, yeah, but could He work like maybe a little faster? Could He like maybe pick up the pace a little bit on this friendship or on this relationship with a relative or with this
Yes.
shame struggle or whatever the struggle is? So those are great opportunities to just like groan together, to laugh hyphen groan together and be like, yes, God is working slowly, but God is working, and just to like be there to reaffirm one another in this journey that we're on. And I just loved hearing from you that
We
night.
want to see what God is doing through the windshield, the front windshield, right? But I think what I want to emphasize is that I think I've lived just long enough now, not that long, but just a few decades, just enough decades where I can see that it takes looking through the rear view mirror to really get it and to be like, oh, okay, God was working all the time. And I really do love that cheesy footprints poem. I really love it.
Footprints in
It
the
takes
sand.
you getting, yes, you get down the beach.
He was there all along.
You get
He
down the
carried
beach
you.
and you look back and you see the one set of footprints, right? And you're just so frustrated and you don't, realize
Next time
that he was
I
carrying you all along the way.
Next time I visit you, Matt, I hope to like go to the use your bathroom and like look up when I'm urinating and see a little picture of the Footprints in the Sand poem that
With calligraphy.
frequents, that frequents many middle-aged white women's bathrooms.
Yes.
Across the I love that.
And the little seashells that I've
Seashells.
that I've picked up at Dirty Myrtle and glued onto the picture.
There we go.
It'll be there.
There we go. Decor. That's an house decor. That's another ConvoCast at some point. We talked about fashion today. We're out of time, Matt, but like I love that retreat because that retreat location, I'm glad you mentioned the location because it was my favorite location we've done too of all the how many locations have we been to now? Four locations. That was my favorite, I think. And it's just really funny and special because we almost didn't go there. Like you and I went on a little scouting trip the year prior to visit like 5 or 6 camps or 3 or 4 camps, something like that. And this camp was closed when we showed up because all of the staff was at a conference that day, I guess. And so we had to make the call. Do we just turn around and go home or do we just like make ourselves at home and just have a look see around? Like we're not going to break in. We're just going to walk around and just like observe. And we opted for that. And thankfully for anyone listening, worrying that we broke the law, we did like encounter a maintenance worker who said it was fine. Like, oh yeah, walk around, and so we felt a little more at ease, I guess, after that interaction. But it was so funny to me because you and I, we had already visited all the camps we were going to visit, and I think we felt good about one of them previously, but then this one definitely took it to another level with just the amenities, the creek running through. There was this awesome stone chapel that I fell in love with where we had early morning prayer times. And there was just the great meeting space. We had an awesome meeting space this year. So it was great. We did a great job. You did a great job. Like, I think you're the one that like found that camp or negotiated or talked to a lot of the people before we got there. And so it was cool to come full circle all those months later and be there with, 48 of our other brothers. So yeah, what a great time it was.
It was so cool.
And I hope, my hope is anytime we have a retreat blog or we talk about the retreat on a podcast, I hope it like elicits some kind of a trembling twinkle in someone's eyes and ears and hearts and souls listening. And you're listening to it and you're like, wow, that sounds kind of cool. It sounds very terrifying. Don't know if I'm ready for that. And that's my hope is that it just like plants, what we're doing here is we're planting seeds, right? We're good Christians planting seeds and we're just going to see what happens. We'll see what gets harvested 6 months from now, 8 months from now. It'll be fun to see. I look forward to seeing what happens, So thanks for sharing.
I can think of a lot of guys in our community who've joined just even since the last retreat, who I hope could show up and feel the belonging and love and just the kind of hope. I think we had somebody send an email recently and he's like, I don't know, I may be saying this too quickly, but I feel like I've found like God has led me to something that I've been looking for so long. And my heart just melted. I was like, oh gosh, I hope he joins us and I hope we see him and that it's a place for him to belong.
I hope he joins us virtually, and I hope he comes physically to our camp retreat. That would be so fun. So the invitation's out there, listeners out there, and yobbers who are already with us. If you have anything to say about, there's so much that anyone listening now could comment on. If you have thoughts on Gen Z, if you are Gen Z, I want to hear from you. So that's the first call to action. Because I don't want to hate on Gen Z. Like I don't want to see the comment section turn into a hate session on Gen Z fashion, but I just would love to explore more what that fashion looks like. Tell us about your fashion choices if you're not Gen Z and how you relate to this conversation, how you fit into this conversation as how does fashion intersect your sexuality if it does? And then And yeah, if you went to the retreat, if you have some retreat stories to tell, we got space for that as well. So many things that you could comment on. What should Matt's thigh tattoo be? You could maybe share some thoughts on that. So many things. So many things.
I'm so embarrassed.
What about like a nice sparrow? What about a nice sparrow, Matt? You know?
Every
bird's a sparrow.
A massive sparrow with established 2015.
Yes.
Right on my thigh.
Yes, exactly. I've got some time to brainstorm Matt's thigh tattoo. So everyone out there, listen. Hey, everyone, I hope you had a happy new year. I'm excited for 2024, all the things that are in store. So stay tuned. I'm really excited for the year ahead. Matthew, I hope you'll be back again soon. It was good to have you back with us.
Thanks so much. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, y'all. Until we cast our next convo. See you soon. Bye, friends.
We're not going yet, right?
We are recording, but
I know
we
we're
haven't
recording.
started. No.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.